Welcome back to Movies on the Brain, where we dive into films that creep, crawl, and take the bite out of your fears. I'm Jason, and today I'm heading into the shadows with the creature feature Bats from 1999, directed by Luis Morneau. Bats is a high-stakes thriller that pits humanity against a winged menace, with performances by Lou Diamond Phillips, Dina Meyer, and Leon. This film brings small-town chaos and big scary swarms to the screen in a way that would leave you looking to the skies. In Bats, the tension builds as science goes wrong and survival hangs in the balance against an unstoppable force of nature. Let's dive into this campy yet thrilling creature feature and see what makes it a cult classic for horror fans. Bats opened in theaters on October 22nd, 1999 with a budget of $5.25 million. In its 6-week theatrical run, it earned a total of $10.1 million worldwide. Its opening weekend saw it earn $4.7 million, finishing number 7 in the box office behind The Story of Us, Bringing Out the Dead, Fight Club, Double Jeopardy, and The Best Man, numbers 5 through 1 respectively, with Bringing Out the Dead and The Best Man opening the same weekend. Its final week in theaters, which happened to be the week after Thanksgiving, saw it earn $129,795, finishing its box office run at number 44. After people start to die in the fictional small Texas town of Gallup, the prime suspects are bats. CDC calls in curologist Dr. Sheila Casper and her assistant Jimmy Sands to investigate the situation. Dr. Alex McCabe is secretive about the situation, but admits that the bats were genetically modified by him to become more intelligent and also omnivorous, but so they would not be in danger of extinction any longer. Sheila is disgusted by this, but it seems McCabe had the best intentions. Aided by Sheriff Emmett Kimsey and CDC specialist Dr. Toby Hodge, Sheila and Jimmy begin to search for the bat roost. The first night they are attacked and manage to capture one and plant a tracking device on it. However, as soon as they let it go, it is killed by the other bats who understand the strategy. Emmett decides that Gallup needs to be evacuated, and the mayor is told to broadcast a warning to all residents to stay indoors and secure their homes. Unfortunately, no one listens. Bats invade the town, and within minutes, chaos ensues, and several people are killed, including Dr. Hodge, who sacrifices himself to save Sheila. The National Guard arrives and begins evacuating the town. They give Sheila and her bat hunters 48 hours before they destroy the town in hopes of killing the bats. Sheila sets up headquarters in the school. The military has promised to center the infrared cameras of a Chromo B340 satellite on the area around Gallup to help locate the bat roost. Even when the roost is located, however, Sheila is at a loss at how they can exterminate all of the bats, of which there must be several thousand. Bombing the roost will only scatter them, leading to the creation of other roosts and spreading the infestation throughout the rest of the country. While the most popular bat poison is only marginally effective against bats, but highly lethal to humans. Sheila thinks the best solution is to lower the temperature inside the roost, since doing so will cause the bats to hibernate instead of flying away before they freeze to death. Jimmy arranges for the NGIC industrial coolant that uses freon, carbon dioxide, and oxygen to be dropped off as soon as the roost is located in a cave that Emmett recognizes as an abandoned mine. Everything is set to begin at 0600 hours, except that the government has other ideas, which do not include waiting until dawn. During the night, they wire the mine with explosives to trap the bats inside and freeze them. Unfortunately, the bats kill all the soldiers at the location and then attack the school. Sheila and the others use electrified fences and blowtorches to keep the creatures at bay, but it is revealed that McCabe, actually insane, has created the bats to be the ultimate predators, specifically designing them to kill humans. McCabe flees outside, falsely believing that he can control the bats, only to be killed himself. When Sheila, Emmett, and Jimmy arrive at the mine the next morning, they are informed by the military they were not able to turn the turning on the coolant unit. So the plan now is to bomb and gas the mine starting in 1 hour. Emmett calls the military and tells them that they will be able to activate the unit, but they aren't able to get the airstrike called off. Sheila decides that 1 hour is enough time for them to get the coolant unit started, so she and Emmett suit up and enter the mine. Jimmy stays outside to monitor their progress and to blow up the mine entrance should it become necessary. Although they find themselves up to their waists in bat guano, they're successful at starting the cooling. As they make their exit, the bats pursue them. The moment they exit, Jimmy detonates the explosives, collapsing the mine entrance and trapping the bats inside, freezing them. One final bat survives the freezing temperatures and burrows into the ground, only to be crushed to death by the group's car as they drive away. Now let's look at the cast and some of their other roles they've had. Lou Diamond Phillips as Sheriff Emmett Kimsey. Other roles for Lou Diamond Phillips include Dr. Aranda in Werewolves, Dr. Cruz in Adverse, and Don Lucho in The 33. Dina Meyer as Dr. Sheila Casper. Other roles for Dina Meyer include Carrie in the Saw franchise, Lydia in The Evil Within, and Paula in Piranha 3D. Bob Gunton as Dr. Alexander McCabe. Other roles for Bob Gunton include Warden Norton in The Shawshank Redemption, Cyrus Vance in Argo, and Alexander McNally III in The Perfect Storm. Leon as Jimmy Sands. Other roles for Leon include Slim in Get Rich or Die Trying, Sean in I Really Hate My Ex, and Tyrone Pettis in A Day to Die. Carlos Jacot as Dr. Toby Hodge. Other roles for Carlos Jacot include Larry the Agent in Being John Malkovich, Ken in Grosse Point Blank, and Jack Wilde in the TV show She Spies. David McConnell as Deputy Wesley Munn. Other roles for David McConnell include Sean in Scarlet, Willard Bean in The Fighting Preacher, and President Wood in Escape from Germany. Marcia Dangerfield as Mayor Amanda Branson. Other roles for Marcia Dangerfield include Grammer in Dark Waters, Babs in A Kid Called Danger, and Brooke in No More Baths. Oscar Rowland as Dr. Swanbeck. Other roles before his passing in October of 2010, other roles for Oscar Rowland include Gus in Prosperity, Mr. Walsh in 1984's Footloose, and Old Bert in Dumb Luck. Tim Whitaker as Quint. The only other role Tim Whitaker has had is Boomer Cleason in Going to the Mat. Juliana Johnson as Emma. This has been Juliana Johnson's only role so far. James Sy as Sergeant James. Other roles for James Sy include Stillwater in the TV show Stillwater, Jackie Chan in the TV show Jackie Chan Adventures, and Quan in the TV show Danny Phantom. Ned Bellamy as Major Reed. Other roles for Ned Bellamy include Doc Fell in Blonde, Waylon Forge in Twilight, and Trevor in The Possession. George Gerds as Chadwick. Before his passing in January of 2021, other roles for George Gerds included Dwight Eisenhower in The 11th Green, Mr. Callahan in Answers to Nothing, and Bob Marshall in the LA Noire video game. Joel Farrar as the bartender. The only other role Joel Farrar has had is Adam in Twice Upon a Christmas. Grady Justice as an army soldier. Other roles for Grady Justice include Antonio in Zen Man, Johnny Mack in Alien Opponent, and Morgan Thompson in The Clear. Kurt Woodruff as Major Number 2. Other roles for Kurt Woodruff include a cameraman in Bombshell, Crane in Choke Canyon, and Peter in Party Girls. The opening does not take long to get into what the movie is about, even though the camera does make it hard to keep track of what's going on. I agree with Jimmy. I don't mind bats from a distance, but not too close. Lou Diamond's putting on a southern accent is so strange to me, but he pulls it off, I really think. I'm really liking the chemistry between Lou Diamond. I really like the chemistry between Lou Diamond Phillips and Dina Meyer, and the chemistry between Leon and Dina Meyer is good as well. All this scientific talk makes my head hurt. I have no clue what they're talking about when they're examining the bodies at the morgue. Dr. McCobb gets more and more aggravating the more and more he speaks. Why would you make bats who are herbivores, omnivores, and aggressive and smart? Makes no sense. Then he turns his back on the others when Dr. Casper says they need to destroy the nest of bats, seeming like he's going to do something to disrupt the plan. Scene where Dr. Casper and Sheriff Kimsey are in the truck with bats all over it has to be one of the creepiest scenes ever, especially for Jimmy and Deputy Munn who pull up to try to help. The scene where it shows the townspeople are going about their normal lives is so creepy, especially the baby in the crib with one of the bats in the crib with it. I really enjoyed the prosthetics and the cuts, at least what you can see in it. I'm not a fan of the fast moving camera shots though. It makes it hard to keep up with what's going on. I know they're trying to convey that it's absolute chaos, but it's hard for me and I'm assuming other viewers to keep track. Dr. Hodge went out like a hero trying to save Sheila, which is more than I can say about Dr. McCabe. Kimsey crying over Wesley being killed shows you the kind of deputy Wesley was, and I'll imagine they were friends too, with it being a fairly small town. So, four people, three if you don't include Dr. McCabe, since he's only wanting to study and potentially sabotage Sheila. Sheriff Kimsey and Jimmy have 48 hours to handle the bat problem before Gallup is blown off the face of the earth. I thoroughly enjoyed the scene with Sheila, Kimsey, and Jimmy fortifying the school when Jimmy busts Kimsey's balls about the opera music was a nice way to ease the tension, even if it was just for a moment. I really like when any movie does this, but when the transition to the next scene is a slow fade of the last shot of the previous scene, and the next scene comes into focus, it's such a good choice. And the scene after Sheila and the others come up with how to kill the bats, then the last shot of Sheila's face fades out and the bats come into focus. It probably has to be my favorite shot in the movie. Then follow it up with another great transition of Jimmy fading out after giving Dr. McCabe the side eye and fading in a helicopter coming in next to where Jimmy, Sheila, Kimsey, and McCabe are to drop off some supplies is such a great shot. I'm loving the fact that none of them trust Dr. McCabe, and McCabe but knows it too. Bob Gunton is just great at just looking like he can't be trusted. Kimsey only did what most would have done as soon as McCabe said he designed the bat, and that's sock him in the face. Again, with the fast moving camera, that's the one thing I don't like about this movie. And I'm not one for horror movies, so for me to like pretty much everything about this except for the cameras, it's a check mark in my book. I'm so glad McCabe was stupid enough to think he could control the bats. That's honestly one of the most satisfying deaths in a movie. And that's not just this movie, that's really any movie. I am not up to my chest in bat shit. It has to be the best line in this movie. And Lou Diamond Phillips' delivery of it is fantastic. How one of the bats survived the blast, I'll never know. But for it to then get crushed by Kimsey's truck was actually a great way to end the movie. Overall, an above average creature feature would have been better had the camera not moved as much as it did because the acting was good. I thought the setting was perfect, and the story was really decent and easy to follow. Now for some fun facts and trivia. With a final budget of $5.25 million, the film recouped it all in its first week in theaters. It grossed well over $30 million in theatrical, DVD, and digital and television sales. The bats in the film were a combination of animatronics, CGI, and two live bats. The two original bats in the film were brought over from Indonesia. Theatrical teaser trailers, which included no images from the actual film, appeared in theaters as the picture had just begun. its second week of a 28-day shoot. No actual full-length trailers were ever created in time for the film's theatrical release. Lou Diamond Phillips brought his own cigars and ad-libbed some of his dialogue. The sheriff's office set was built in the hallway of a grade school. The movie was originally filmed as an R-rated horror film, but cuts were ultimately made to the film to get a more marketable PG-13 rating. While the VHS release uses the theatrical cut, the DVD release includes the original unaltered R-rated cut of the film. The film was to originally be titled Blood Moon. Jimmy Sands was a more serious character in the earlier drafts of the script. The Bat Guano scene was built in a warehouse. The first scene of the movie was filmed the first day of shooting. And that's it for my review of Bats. This film is a campy yet thrilling creature feature that delivers suspense, chaos, and plenty of winged terror. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe to Movies on the Brain for more deep dives into horror classics and creature features. Let me know in the comments, did Bats give you chills, or was it just a fun flight into the absurd? Thanks for watching, and until next time, watch the skies, because you never know what's lurking in the shadows.